Everyone, my name is Bhavesh. For this presentation, we are going to look at the concept of orchestration to explain the coaching process and use examples from Stuart Lancaster's coaching practice to further explain how this theory links to good practice. Stuart Lancaster was initially a PE teacher, having studied sports science and done his PGCE. He was then director of rugby at Leeds, winning the Premiership before becoming the RFU's Director of Rugby and England Saxons manager. He then held an interim post before being confirmed as England head coach. Now, to understand the concept of orchestration, we need to take into consideration the chaotic nature of coaching. Most theories overlook it, but coaching is a complex process, requiring decision and making during dilemmas and controversies, and being aware of the effects of coaching practice on various factors affecting performance. Orchestration is then used as an analytical tool to explain the complex nature of coaching. It is divided in three components: social irony, micropolitics, and noticing. This theory is derived from education, which is quite interesting since Lancaster believes that teaching is very much like coaching. The social irony concept is a strategical tool to cope with situations involving dilemmas and controversies, whereby there is a discrepancy between objectives and ambiguity of the coaching context. Mastering this component results in better team and man management. Lancaster's decision to ask talented players such as Armitage and Cipriani in the face of disciplinary issues is a display of social irony. While this might be against sporting objectives, it serves to reaffirm the importance of the squad's culture, which is important for its stability. In the following clip, he talks about the importance of Daniker's ban.
On the back of 3 weeks ago being arrested for a drinking offence, and then 3 weeks later getting arrested for a drink driving offence. So it's a strong message, but it's the right message. And I think, ultimately, all players need to understand that we're responsible adults and there's behaviours that go with that. And so
the second component, micropolitics, is the ability to use influence to achieve goals or targets through supportive or disruptive behaviors. Such ability gives a coach more power in his coaching environment through the support of powerful stakeholders such as players, managers, and other coaches. Lancaster's blueprint for good practice incorporates micropolitics in many ways. He says a good coach should be proactive and patient with the press and be in control of what they say. Also, he emphasizes on the need to build strong relationships within the team, labeling it as the glue that holds the team together. Here's an anecdote to emphasize on this point. During a tournament, he made individualized certificates for players, asking parents to write dreams and aspirations of their sons who inspired them or guided them to where they are. This made a big impact on players, and they thanked the coach for this initiative and personal touch. This quote from one of his ex-players highlights the influence he has on his players. By alternating his styles to suit the situation and being able to instill his belief onto his players. He also understands the cause and effect spectrum of situations and knows how to turn it around to motivate players. Which brings us to the next component. Noticing. To be an orchestrator, it can be argued that the most important component is that of noticing. It is an instrument of attention which guides instant reaction and reflection, and gives the ability to notice minimal effects in a chaotic environment. It requires coaches to be alert and totally aware. Linking to the concept of noticing, Lancaster has this to say: I'm quite a big picture thinker and planner, but I'm not sure there's any way I can really prepare for what's to come. To reconcile the here and now and the future, that's the trick. He embeds noticing in his practice in order to create a positive environment for the players. Lancaster looked at the previous World Cup failure, focusing on what the coach got wrong, what the players got wrong, and how the environment magnified those errors. He talks about recognizing the factors that will bring success in the next clip.
We're very much focused on the process of what it takes to win. So getting a good culture right, getting a good work ethic, getting good defence and good attack, getting a good set piece, kicking game. selecting the right players, and ultimately building on the momentum that we've generated during the South Africa tour, but more importantly the Six Nations as well.
Lancaster also identified that his role as England head coach is split in three components: being a leader to his players, managing everything surrounding the team, and driving the coaching process. This shows further insight in his awareness of the complexity of his role. He talks about it in the next clip.
My job is to try and make myself the best I can be as a coach and a leader and a manager, particularly as head coach, because you cover all three spectrums. And then from there, try and develop myself to be the best I can be, which will then ultimately help the players.
So, the challenges in linking theory of orchestration to coaching practice lie in the ambiguous nature of coaching, which often results in vicarious practice. Thus, coaches miss the opportunity to identify smaller details that can have significant effects. However, there's a lot to take from this theory and Lancaster's practice to guide our own practice. Firstly, in terms of social irony, we have seen that culture plays a key role in driving motivation and success. Secondly, it is important to form strong relationships with people holding power in our coaching context to master the concept of micropolitics. Lastly, we need to be more critical and aware of the smaller details that influence our practice, such as what motivates our players, and be able to read situations better. Here are some of my references, referring mostly to the theory of orchestration. There's an extensive list in the notes section. Thank you for your attention.